Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the fascinating math of the real world to solve an everyday economic mystery. Have you ever wondered why the numbers in your bank account stay exactly the same, but the actual power of those numbers just kind of seems to slip right through your fingers? Well, we're going to look at the math behind how and why your money literally melts.
I want you to think about a really simple scenario. Imagine walking into a supermarket. Why is it that, say, 100 hryvnias used to buy an entire shopping cart overflowing with groceries, but today, that exact same piece of paper barely covers a few basic items at the bottom of your basket? The money itself hasn't physically changed, right? But its power definitely has.
Let's actually look at this comparison. Take the exact same 100 units of currency from decades ago versus today. The purchasing power of the past gave you an absolute feast. The present gives you, well, basically a snack. Your currency is constantly, quietly losing its strength. And this isn't just bad luck. This is a mathematical phenomenon, and it's called inflation. Here's how we're going to break this down today. First, 1. What is inflation? 2. The math behind the melt. 3. The compound effect. 4. Real versus nominal value. 5. When math breaks, hyperinflation. And finally, 6. The invisible economic force. Let's jump in. Section 1. What is inflation? The general rise in prices. So the absolutely crucial point is right here in this definition. Inflation isn't just about one specific thing, like, say, your favorite coffee getting more expensive. No, it's the general, across-the-board increase in the prices of goods and services over time. When prices rise globally, the purchasing power of your money falls, meaning one identical sum of money simply buys you fewer goods. But why does this actually happen? Well, the causes are deeply rooted in the math of supply and demand. If a central bank prints large amounts of money, you suddenly have a lot more cash chasing the exact same amount of goods. Or if there's a deficit of goods, like a supply chain breaking down or a sudden surge in consumer demand, prices naturally surge. And external shocks, like wars and economic crises, they dramatically accelerate this whole imbalance. Section 2. The math behind the melt, tracking the thief. So how do we actually track this? Economists use something called the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. They put together a standard, imaginary basket of goods containing everyday items. We're talking bread, milk, clothing, transport, utilities, the whole shebang. By comparing the total cost of this exact same basket today versus a month or a year ago, they can calculate the national inflation rate. It's basically a financial thermometer for the whole economy. Let's see how this builds into an actual calculation, step by step. Step 1. Let's say the old price of our basket was 100 hryvnias. Step 2. The new price today is 120. Step 3. We subtract the old from the new, which gives us a difference of 20. And finally, step 4. We divide that 20 by the old price of 100 and multiply by 100 to get a percentage. The result? Boom, a 20% inflation rate. Section 3. The compound effect, the time machine of money. Okay, I really want you to remember this number, 72. In finance, there is this brilliant, kind of magical mathematical cheat code known as the rule of 72. It's used to estimate how long it takes for a value to double, or in the case of inflation, to half, based on a constant rate. Let's look at the rule of 72 in action. Say we have a seemingly small, manageable annual inflation rate of 4%. If we take our magic number, 72, and divide it by 4, we get 18. That means in just 18 years, the purchasing power of your money will literally be cut in half. Because inflation functions exactly like compound interest, just in reverse, even tiny percentages snowball into massive wealth losses over time. Section 4. Real versus nominal value, what money says versus what it buys. Now notice the really revealing difference here. Let's say a bank offers you a nominal deposit rate of 16%. I mean, that sounds amazing, right? But hold on a second. If the inflation rate is 8%, you aren't actually getting 16% richer. Using a mathematical concept called the Fisher equation, which adjusts for compounding, your 16% yield minus 8% inflation actually leaves you with a real yield of only about 7.4%. So the nominal value is the illusion. The real value is the truth. The harsh reality here is a fundamental economic law. If your money depreciates faster than your income or your investments grow, you are actually becoming poorer, even if your paycheck technically went up. Ignoring the difference between real and nominal values leads to a silent but very steady loss of wealth. Section 5. When math breaks. Hyperinflation, a historical warning. And that brings us to hyperinflation. This is the breaking point of an economy. It's an extreme, out-of-control situation where prices don't just rise, they absolutely explode by thousands or even millions of percent. Under hyperinflation, money loses its value daily, sometimes even hourly. People literally rush to spend their cash the exact instant they get it, before it turns into completely worthless paper. To ground this theory in reality, let's look at recent history. In 1993, Ukraine suffered devastating hyperinflation, where prices rose by thousands of percent, wiping out savings overnight. Decades later, in 2022, global shocks pushed inflation up to a very painful 26.6%. But by actively managing the math, central banks aim for targets, like the projections for 2026, hoping to stabilize inflation near a much more manageable 5 to 7.5%. Section 6. The invisible economic force, shielding your finances. To recap what we've learned, inflation isn't just some dry theory in a textbook. It dictates the success of entire countries and governments. It forces businesses to constantly adjust their strategies. It changes the interest rates on your loans and the prices at your local store. Basically, it touches the daily life of every single person. I want to leave you with this powerful thought. Money is not a stable thing. Its value is constantly changing. Currency is always in motion. Once you understand that the 100 hryvnia bill in your wallet today is fundamentally different from the 100 hryvnia bill in your wallet tomorrow, it completely changes how you save, how you invest, and how you plan for the future. Understanding the math behind it is your ultimate shield. If you want to keep arming yourself with knowledge and truly understand the math of the real world, make sure to subscribe to the Universe Code channel. We take complex topics and make them simple, visual, and totally accessible. So, are you ready to stop your money from melting? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.